Good morning guys, good morning. Tanong ko lang muna bago tayo mag-start. Anong sunod yung klase after ng klase natin? Anong oras yun? Sige lang, sige lang. Ah, Ready na ba ang mag-present ang group 1? How about ang group 2? Kaya kaya mag-present ng group 2 din ngayon? Kaya rin? Sige, if okay lang, let's extend hanggang 12:30. Hanggang 12:30. Yun. And you have 1 hour each para mag-present. Yun, let's start na with group 1. Bago pala tayo mag-start, pa-open ka muna, then class rep pa-screenshot, let me know if okay na. Sige, thank you. Yung group 1, you can have the floor na. You can start presenting.
Alright. Bago muna ang lahat ay magandang umaga. Naririnig po ba ako ng lahat? Please do thumbs up or heart na lang po kung naririnig ako at kung nakikita po yung presentation po. So, good day everyone. We are Group 1 and I'm Lorraine Beasi Bautista, presenting with my group mates Edward Austin Embagsit, Gerald Warren D. Beron, John Lawrence R. de Chavez, Gavray Elijah P. De La Torre, Cedric Kelsey Fider, Ashley Nicole Flores, Rojov Gerard Jose Fortaleza, Reino Jade Pigueron, Prince Giano Medrano, Abigail Mendoza, Lance Axel Pamute, and Vince Martin F. Petalino.
Excuse muna. Ah, Pa-send sa'kin 'yan, yang ng group members via email, Pa-send sa'kin ng group members via email. Thank you. Yeah, sige,
po,
proceed
sir.
na ulit.
Sige po, sir. So before we proceed to our topic for today, which is Lesson 4 Engine Lubrication Systems, we've prepared a short and fun activity to warm everyone up and get your minds ready for learning. But before that, let's start off by welcoming everyone once again. Good day, class. Are you all ready? Things up, we'll have a short icebreaker activity to test your observation and memory skills. And it's called Guess the Logo. For our first one, we have, guys, raise hand na kayo or magtatawag ako. Oh, sabi ni John Kirby Mang Inasar. How about yung iba? Inasa daw, sabi nung isa. So, ang tamang sagot ay Mang Inasar. Maaasar ka sa sarap. Oh, next naman, next. Okay, how about this naman? Oo. Sino pa? Wala nang nasagot. Sorry ha, corny mo talaga. Sorry. Ang sagot ay ayaw magano. Kontento na sa'yo. Oo, next naman, next. Ayoko na. Next. Next naman 'to. Brand siya ng clothing line. Tama ba? Basta clothing at saka ano, sportswear. Anong sagot? Like. Ang tamang sagot ay like. So, let's proceed to our part 2 ng ng ating icebreaker. For our part 2 ay be a word detective. So, are you all ready to play? Ayoko na. Next. Ito. Manghula kayo dyan kung alin ang tama ang spelling. B-A A. Ang sagot ay letter B. Yung spelling ay Tunes. Next. Ito naman. Skechers. Skechers with T or wala? A for aso, A. Sagot ay letter A, Skechers without T. Next, last na. KitKat without hyphen or with? Ang tamang sagot ay letter B. Wala siyang hyphen. So now that our minds are warmed up and ready, let's move on to the main part of our presentation. Today, we'll explore a very important system in engines that keeps them running smoothly and efficiently: the engine lubrication system. This topic is essential not only for mechanical engineers, but for anyone who wants to understand how engines maintain performance, reduce friction, and prevent wear and tear. For our lesson proper, our discussion will cover the purpose and functions of a lubrication system, the different types of lubrication, such as hydrostatic and hydrodynamic lubrication, and how bearings and frictional torque relate to efficient engine operation. And for our first topic, let's hear it from Rog Fortaleza.
Good morning, everyone. Today we'll be discussing one of the most vital systems in any engine, the lubrication system. A lubrication system reduces friction and wear between moving surfaces by forming a protective layer that prevents direct contact, enhancing efficiency and extending machine life. Beyond reducing friction, lubricants also cool machinery, seal surfaces, prevent rust and contamination, and reduce noise. In high-performance systems, like engines and turbines, they maintain reliability under extreme conditions. Proper lubrication prevents overheating, minimizes energy loss, and ensures optimal system performance, requiring engineers to understand viscosity, temperature effects, and proper lubricant selection. Next part. Next slide. As you can see, the picture shows the lubrication system. The lubrication system serves three critical functions. The first one is to reduce friction, as said earlier. The second one is cooling. Third one is cleaning. Then let's begin the system from the bottom. In the oil pan or sump, this is the reservoir where all the engine is stored when the engine is not running or in or in idling. Part two is the circulation where the pump and the filter works. The flow starts with the intake or the pump. The oil is drawn from the sump through the intake screen and pulled into the oil pump. This pump is the heart of the system. It pressurizes the oil and forces it through the entire engine. Second one is the oil filter. Before reaching the sensitive components, the pressurized oil passes through the oil filter. Third one is the distribution. Yes, from the filter, the clean pressurized oil is channeled into internal passages called oil galleries. The next for crankshafts and bearing, then camshafts and valves. Then last one is to piston walls. After circulating through all these parts, the oil drains back down into the oil pan due to the gravity, and the cycle repeats. Next slide. Thank you.
So for this part of the presentation, we will be delving into the purpose of lubrication system. Next slide. Starting off with lubricates, the first and most important purpose of a lubrication system is to minimize friction between moving surfaces. Without lubrication, friction from microscopic surface roughness can cause high temperature, wear, and failure. If we are going to apply this on a real scenario, parang imagine two metal surfaces na nag slide against each other, which in turn, and I think we can all agree that it causes intense heat and rapid wear. That's where lubricants like oil or grease comes in. They form a thin film between the surfaces, acting as a barrier that prevents direct metal to metal contact, reducing friction, wear, and heat generation. Next slide. Now let's talk about the thin film foundation. This refers to the very thin layer of oil that separates moving surfaces inside a machine, wherein nag-act siya as a protective barrier. In fact, according to recent studies, maintaining the right thickness of this oil film is crucial daw because kahit small change in film thickness can cause friction or yung heat and also the overall performance. Its effectiveness depends on maintaining proper thickness and viscosity suited to the load and speed of operation. And aside from reducing friction, lubricants also help with load distribution. They spread the load evenly across surfaces, acting like yung para pong cushion na nag-absorb ng stress and prevents deformation. Para siyang like yung unan for example na sumasalo ng pressure wherein it prevents certain spots from carrying too much force. And this prevents wear, pitting, and spalling, ensuring longer life and reliability of components. So in short po, the thin film and load distribution works hand in hand. One minimizes friction while the other protects against stress. And kinikip niya yung machine na mag-run at their best. Next slide. Lubricants also act as seals in many mechanical system. Actually, mostly ginagamit siya sa internal combustion engines, which we all have background naman. So dito rin nagte-take place the events where oil seals the piston rings and yung cylinder walls na nagme-maintain ng gas tight fit and ensuring that the proper engine function. Next slide. Oil maintains compression in the combustion chamber by enhancing the seal between the piston rings and the cylinder walls. Here is ini-ensure ng oil na walang maglilik na air while nagkakombust because if gases escape, the engine loses pressure and won't perform efficiently. Oil also help reduce what we call blow-by. Yun yung time na yung combustion gases leaks into the crankcase which lowers engine efficiency and contaminates the oil. Minsan, you'll even see blue smoke coming out of the exhaust and that's a clear sign na mahina na yung seal and the engine needs maintenance. Maintaining an effective seal with lubricants ensures efficiency, um, engine operation, power retention, fuel efficiency, and oil quality. Next slide. And I guess we all now aware of the dual purpose of engine oils, which is lubrication and sealing. Again, first, under lubricate, the oil reduces friction between moving parts by creating a thin film or clearance na nag-aalaw ng smoother movements of parts like yung bearings or shafts. Then under seals, oils help form a seal between piston rings and cylinder walls. And if the seal is weak or oil leaks internally, it can cause blue smoke from the exhaust, which in sign ng nagiging sign siya ng oil burning inside the engine.
Thank you, Ash, for that great part. So for this part, I'll be talking about cleaning function of lubricants. As the oil circulates through the engine, it doesn't just reduce friction. It also keeps the system clean. Kumbaga, nagre-remove siya ng contaminants like metal particles, carbon deposits, and other debris that form during operation, wear, and combustion. This cleaning process maintains engine efficiency at nagpe-prevent din siya ng damage over time. Next. Lubricants also act like a cleaner inside the engine. Nagpipick up sila ng metal particles and carbon deposits and kinakarry nila ito to the oil filter where these contaminants are trapped. By doing that, yung oil ay nagpe-prevent ng harmful build-up that could cause engine damage. And because oil is constantly circulating, it keeps flushing out dirt and debris, making sure all engine parts stay clean and run smoothly. And next. Here's a diagram showing where the lubricant flows inside the engine. Nagsisimula siya sa oil pan, then moves through the components like crankshaft, pistons, valves, and camshaft area. As it passes through these parts, yung oil is continuous niyang kini-clean away yung contaminants, protecting them from wear and corrosion, which in turn is nag-help siya na-extend ng life at saka yung quality ng engine performance. Next.
So next naman, let's talk about one of the most important functions of lubrication system, which is cools or cooling. Lubrication system maintain proper operating temperature by absorbing and dissipating heat from friction and combustion, preventing overheating, low performance, wear, and failure. So yun nga, alam naman natin na ang lubrication system ay hindi lang nakakapag-reduce ng friction, kundi nakakatulong din to para ma-maintain yung proper operating temperature ng engine. So, yung lubricant, yung nag-a-absorb and nagke-carry ng heat, keeping the engine parts from overheating. Tapos, pag wala tayong cooling action, yung engine natin could suffer from low performance nga, overheating, and complete failure. Next slide po. And in this slide shows the 3 ways lubrication helps in cooling the engine. Ang first one ay ang heat transfer, wherein ang lubricants ay ang nagtatransfer ng heat as the oil circulates, inaabsorb o sinisipsip nito ang init mula sa mga parte ng makina tulad ng piston at bearings. Then, yung oil na yon could passes through the oil cooler tapos doon naman naglalabas ng heat. This process naman ay nakakatulong para ma-maintain ang stable temperature throughout the engine. The next one, and the second one is preventing overheating. Dito naman, by removing excess heat, napipigilan ng lubricants na masira o lumobo ang mga metal na part ng makina. Kasi kapag nag-overheat ang ating makina, it can lead to engine wear, oil breakdown, or even total engine failure. So may mahalagang
part yung lubricant dito para makaprotect ng ating system. And the third one is the maintaining performance and longevity. When the engine temperature is regulated, mas maayos ang takbo nito. Mas matipid din sa gasolina and it extends the life of the engine components. In other words, ang good lubrication doesn't just cool, it also ensures long-term performance and reliability. So in short, ang lubricant works like the engine's liquid air conditioner, keeping everything at just the right temperature. Next slide. So dito naman makikita natin ang we can see the underside of the engine where the oil pan is located. Sa part na to, dito ini-store yung oil na nagsisirculate through the system. Ito yung nag-a-absorb ng heat from various engine components before returning to the pan to cool down again. This continuous cycle of absorbing and dissipating heat ensures that the engine remains efficient and protected from danger. So, ang cooling function ng lubrication system ay mahalaga kasi sa pamamagitan nito ay mas nagiging smooth yung operation at nakaka-prevent din ng heat-related problems at mas na-extend nito yung engine's life. Yun.
And the next purpose of the lubrication system would be the absorbing of shock and protect components from sudden forces during starts, stops, or high load conditions, minimizing impact and damage. So for this PIP purpose po, basically po nagkakaroon ng cushion po or which was introduced a while ago using oils po and fluids po to prevent po and absorb yung shock. Next slide. So how do the lubrication system absorb shock po? First, by cushioning loads. Lubricants absorb shock loads in bearings, gears, and components, preventing direct contact and reducing stress during sudden force changes. Sabi nga po kanina, to prevent metal-to-metal contact. So nagkakaroon po ng somehow a cushion po that transfers energy across the surface po instead the direct contact po. Kaya po yung damage, hindi po yan mawawala, would be minimized at least po. Then next would be preventing wear and deformation. High impact forces can make parts deform, which may eventually lead to long-term fatigue or failure po. So by absorbing shock po, yung high impact forces po would be reduced. Not totally negated po, but only reduced. So best example po dito would be like po yung mga airbags po sa car system po kapag may emergency or nagkaroon ng banggaan. So instead po na immediate death po, yun, can save lives po. And dito naman po sa machines, lubrication system po can save the life or it can prolong the life of the machine.
Okay. Rinig na po ba? Another purpose of lubricant is that it absorbs contaminants. Lubricant absorb and suspend contaminants for wear or external sources, preventing damage, reducing wear, and maintaining system efficiency. Lubricants help remove harmful particles produced during normal operation or introduced from outside. By trapping these components po, pinaprevent po niya ang scratching or damaging ng mga moving parts, which reduces wear and keeps the machine running smoothly. Next po. Next po. Yan. How do absorbing contaminants help the machine? First po ay by handling contaminant handling by additives. Lubricants contain special additives designed to collect and hold contaminants such as dirt, moisture, and combustion residues. By keeping these particles suspended rather than letting them settle on surfaces, the additives help prevent abrasion, corrosion, and blockage within engine components. Another is that it maintains oil quality. Additives keep contaminants in suspension, preserving oil quality, extending its lifespan, and ensuring smooth and efficient engine performance. As additives keeps contaminants suspended, the oil remains effective for longer. This prevents degradation, extends the useful life of the oil, and ensures that the engine or machine continues to operate efficiently without increased friction or premature failure.
So, good day everyone. I'll explain naman po hydrostatic lubrication. When we say of hydrostatic lubrication, ito ay isang uri ng lubrication system na gumagamit ng externally pressurized fluid para mabawasan ng friction at wear sa pagitan ng dalawang surfaces. So basically, sa hydrostatic lubrication, may pressurized fluid. Usually, oil yon na pinapadaloy sa pagitan ng mga surfaces para gumawa ng stable lubricating film. Ang kagandahan nito ay kahit hindi gumagalaw ang parts or mabagal man ang kanyang rotation, ay effective pa rin siya. Kasi ang ginagamit nga niya ay external pressure ang magme-maintain ng oil film, hindi lang yung motion ng parts. So yung pressurized fluid na yun ay equally na nadidistribute ng load forces. Kaya hindi nagkakaroon ng direct metal-to-metal na contact. Especially ito ay kadalasan sa startup at sa shutdown, kung saan ito ay may pinakamadalas nagkakaroon ng wear sa mga normal nating bearings. So ano nga ba ang advantages nitong hydrostatic lubrication? So isa na rito ay very useful ito sa mga machines na kailangan ng precision, may mabigat na load, or mabagal ang speed. So ang isa pang advantage nito ay mas mataas ang kanyang stiffness at damping. So basically magiging stable at smooth ang kanyang operation. At ang isa namang halimbawa or ilan sa mga halimbawa nito na pinaggagamitan nito ay ang mga machine tools. Ang halimbawa na lang nito ay ang mga milling machines, grinding machines. So sa mga ganitong machine, kailangan sobrang smooth at precise ng movement ng table or spindle. Kaya nababagay rito ang hydrostatic bearing na ito. So ang ilan pa ay ang mga telescopes and radar systems. So next slide. So para sa makikita nating dalawang image na ito naman ay yung mga actual applications ng hydrostatic lubrication. So sa left side natin, makikita natin yung hydrostatic bearing diagram. So dito, may pump na nagde-deliver ng pressurized fluid galing sa tank. Tapos, yung fluid ay dadaan muna syempre sa mga valves at filter. At minsan, sa compensating element bago pumasok sa bearing. May pressure relief valve para siguraduhin na hindi sosobra ang pressure. At yung flow return line naman ay bumabalik sa tank para mag-complete yung cycle. Kapag nakapasok na yung fluid sa bearing pocket, nagfo-form siya ng lubricating film na nagli-lift ng load at nagpe-prevent ng contact sa pagitan ng mga surfaces. Ibig sabihin, kahit hindi umiikot o gumagalaw yung shaft, kaya pa rin niyang mag-support ng load. Again, kahit hindi siya umiikot o gumagalaw yung shaft, ay kaya niya pa rin mag-support ng load. So sa right side naman, makikita naman natin sa right side ay yung hydrostatic journal bearing na image. Ito yung type ng bearing na ginagamit para suportahan ang mga rotating shafts. Dito, may constant supply na pressure na galing sa pump. Siya ay dumadaan doon sa mga restrictors at pumapasok sa bearing clearance. Yung restrictors ang nagkokontrol ng flow at pressure sa bawat packet. Kung makikita natin, siya yung nasa right side. Para uniform ang distribution at stable yung support ng shaft, ang result yung shaft ay parang lumulutang sa pressurized oil film. Kaya walang direct contact at less vibration at very precise ang kanyang movement.
Next naman po is yung frictional torque. Frictional torque is the contact resistance between mating surfaces in motion affecting components like bearing rings, retainers, seals, and rolling elements. Ibig sabihin lang po nito is may drag or resistance na nararamdaman yung part kapag nagro-rotate against each other. So, may examples rin po na sinabi na ang ibig sabihin po ay ang friction ay nangyayari sa halos lahat ng moving parts inside a bearing or rotating joint. It is also measured in pounds-feet or newton meters and impacts the efficiency and performance of rotating machinery. So, problema po itong friction dahil pinapabagal po nito ang machine at mas pinapahirapan nito ang ating machine na nagiging dahilan kung bakit nagiging inefficient. So, it also includes static friction torque, which must be overcome to start rotation, and dynamic friction torque, which occurs during motion. Next po. So, ba't ba natin kailangan i-reduce ang frictional torque? First is the energy efficiency. Reducing friction torque lowers power loss and improves system efficiency. This means that less friction equals less wasted energy. So kapag binabaan natin yung resistance, hindi masyadong maghihirap yung ating machine. So mas gagamit siya ng konting power, pero mas same amount yung work. Second is yung wear and tear. Minimizing friction torque decreases wear, extending component life and reducing maintenance cost. This is straightforward naman po. So less friction means less grinding, and when parts don't grind against each other, they don't wear out as fast. Meaning mas tatagal sila and mas konti yung magiging maintenance cost. And lastly, noise reduction. Lower friction torque results in quieter operation, essential for smooth and noise-sensitive application. So alam po natin na friction creates noise. So kapag binabaan po natin yung friction, bababa rin po yung ating noise. So mahalaga po siya para sa machine na kailangan ay tahimik talaga, like yung mga machine na nasa office or nasa hospital na where quiet environment is needed. So next po.
Next up is pag-uusapan naman natin is yung isa sa mga nagpapababa ng frictional torque sa ating mga machines, which is the bearings. Bearings are essential parts in the industry such as industrial, medical, automotive, and aerospace, functioning to minimize friction and support loads at various speeds. A bearing's performance is measured by the ability to minimize friction and withstand loads while operating at various speeds. Friction torque is a key factor that determines power loss and overall bearing performance. As Warren said po previously, bearings are significant sa pag-ooperate ng ating mga machines since nagpapababa siya ng ating mga friction and wear and tear ng ating mga metal-to-metal contact sa loob ng machines. Next slide, please. The geometry of the bearing, such as contact angle, raceway curvature, and ball diameter, affects its friction torque. Smaller contact angles and tighter raceway curvatures increase friction torque, while larger contact angles and ball size reduce it. For example, reducing the contact area between the bearing surfaces can decrease frictional losses. resulting in lower friction torque. Engineers can also optimize the geometry of the bearing elements by increasing the number of rolling elements, reducing the diameter of the bearing, or using a more precise manufacturing process to reduce roughness and irregularities. Next slide, please. Proper lubrication reduces friction torque by keeping bearing surfaces separated and minimizing wear. The lubricant's viscosity, temperature, and composition affect performance. High viscosity lubricants suit heavy loads, while low viscosity ones work best for high speeds. Elevated temperatures can degrade lubricants and lower effectiveness. Also, dagdag information, uh, sa paggamit ng mga lubricants natin in machines and also in bearings, dapat ay yung saktong viscosity lang po ang ating gagamitin since merong tendencies na sa paggamit ng maling viscosity sa ating mga machines, magkakaroon po tayo ng tinatawag na katok or mabilis sa pag-wear sa ating mga metal-to-metal contact, especially sa mga bearings. Ayun lang.
For bearing load and speed greatly influence friction torque. Higher values increase energy losses and frictional forces. As contact pressure rises with load, friction also increases. Understanding these factors is essential in selecting the right bearing design and material to ensure optimal performance and prevent premature failure. So bearing load and speed have a big effect on friction. The higher the load and speed, the greater the friction and energy loss. That's why the that's why it's important to choose the right bearing design and material to keep the machine working properly and to avoid early damage. Next slide po. For frictional losses in bearings, it involves two types of friction, static and dynamic. Static friction or the breakaway force must be overcome to start motion and is usually higher than dynamic friction, which is the force needed to maintain motion once it begins. So yun nga po, there are two types of friction in bearings, static and dynamic. Static friction is the force we need to overcome this to start movement, while dynamic friction is the force needed to keep it moving. Usually, static friction is higher than dynamic friction. Next slide. And hydrodynamic lubrication is forms a thick film of lubricant between moving surfaces, preventing direct contact and reducing friction and wear. It relies on surface motion to generate pressure that supports the load. Emerging trends include smart materials, biodegradable lubricants, and real-time monitoring for improved performance and sustainability. For hydrodynamic lubrication, there's a thick layer of lubrication that keeps the moving parts from touching, that reduces friction and wear. New technologies like smart materials and eco-friendly lubricants help bearings work better and last longer.
Hydrodynamic theory and principles. Hydrodynamics focuses on how fluids like oil or water behave when they move, and is very important in lubrication systems and engine design. It follows three main scientific laws. First is the conservation of mass. This means thus that mass can't be created or destroyed. It only moves or changes form in fluid flow. This is explained by the continuity equation, which ensures that the amount of fluid entering a system equals the amount that leaves. For example, when oil flows through narrow engine passages, the speed and volume must adjust so that no mass is lost or gained. Next is conservation of momentum. Momentum stays the same unless acted upon by an external force. This is based on Newton's second law. In hydrodynamics, it means that any change in the velocity or direction of the fluid happens because of applied pressure, gravity, or frictional forces. Understanding this helps engine predict how lubricants behave under different pressure and speeds. Finally, we have the conservation of energy. Energy also cannot be created or destroyed. It can only change form, In fluid systems, some of the fluid's potential energy, like pressure, can convert into kinetic energy. This is represented by Bernoulli's equation, which shows how pressure, speed, and height of a fluid are related. In a lubrication system, for instance, Bernoulli's principle helps ensure that oil flows smoothly and evenly to all parts, maintaining stable pressure and avoiding overheating. So, in short, these three laws together explain how lubricants move, maintain pressure, and distribute energy inside machines. Next slide po. Simplifying assumptions. In real life engineering, it is almost impossible to perfectly describe how fluids behave because there are so many factors, like temperature, viscosity changes, turbulence, and surface roughness, all happening at the same time. That's why engineers make simplifying assumptions to make calculations more manageable. In the past, early fluid models ignored internal friction, meaning they treated fluid as if they flowed without resistance. But today, with advanced computing, engineers can include viscosity and other real-world effects for more accurate simulations. In hydrodynamics, these assumptions are necessary for deriving the Reynolds equation, one of the most important equations in lubrication theory. This equation describes how a thin film of fluid behaves between moving surfaces like a bearing and a shaft. To derive these equations, we assume conditions like the fluid is continuous and incompressible, the film thickness is small compared to its length, flow is steady and laminar, and the pressure and the velocity distribution follow equilibrium and continuity.
Hello. And table outlines the common simplifying assumptions made when analyzing hydrodynamic lubrication problems, along with comments on their validity and limitation. First is the body forces are neglected. We ignore forces like gravity because they're too small to affect fluid much. Pressure is constant through the film. The oil layer is very thin, so the pressure doesn't change much across it. No slip at the boundaries. The, the oil right next to the surface moves at the same speed as the surface itself. Lubricant behaves as a Newtonian fluid. The oil's thickness stays the same even when it's moving, except for some special oils like polymeric lubricants. Flow is laminar. The flow is smooth and steady, not turbulent in most cases. Fluid inertia is neglected. The fluid motion changes slowly, so we don't need to worry about its inertia. Fluid density is constant. The fluid density doesn't change much since it's liquid at a gas. Viscosity is constant. We assume the oil thickness doesn't change, even though in real life it varies with temperature and pressure. In short, the table summarizes simplifying assumptions made to make lubrication analysis practical, along with when they are valid or not. And next slide po. Reynolds' 1886 theory showed that viscous liquids create pressure to separate sliding surfaces, reducing friction and wear. The Reynolds equation ay galing naman po siya sa simplified Navier-Stokes equation na ina-explain po dito kung paano gumagalaw ang fluid, paano naapektuhan ng force tulad ng pressure, viscosity, at external forces tulad ng gravity ang paggalaw ng fluid. And it's basically the fluid version of Newton's second law of motion na force is equal to mass times acceleration, pero ina-apply siya sa kada tiny part ng fluid. And that ends lesson 4 po.
To conclude and to summarize this presentation, the engine lubrication system plays a vital role in reducing friction, sealing components, cleaning contaminants, cooling engine parts, and ensuring smooth operation under various conditions. Without proper lubrication, engine performance would quickly deteriorate, leading to overheating and mechanical failure. Now let's proceed to our Q&A portion. Wait lang po.
Okay na, wag na tayo mag, Q&A. Just give them the copy of that and send that one as well to me. Yun. Yung na-discuss naman diyan sa last part, yung ating, mga assumptions and kung paano tayo nakaka-arrive or how do we calculate, uh, or analyze lubrication systems. Yang mga assumptions na yan, we are gonna be using that next week, especially when we discuss how we really design bearings depending on or considering our lubrication system. So yun yung magiging topic natin next week, and that would be using the Petrov's equation. I-discuss natin bakit ba ginagamit ng Petrov's equation, bakit Petrov's equation yung ginagamit, saan nanggaling ang Petrov's equation, ano yung mga assumptions na ginamit para ma-derive yung Petlov's equation. We'll be discussing that. And yan, most likely ang topic lang naman ng lesson 4 is ano ang ginagawa ng lubrication system. And I also discussed that yung difference ng na-discuss din naman diyan yung difference ng hydrostatic and hydrodynamic, and yung calculations niya ay pinresent ko or binigay ko sa inyo last week. So I hope you already watched that kasi yun lang naman yung magiging kasama sa mga finals exam niyo, yung calculation na yun at yung calculation na ituturo ko next week. Yun, I think that's it lang sa for lesson 4. So thank you group 1. Proceed na yung next group. Proceed na yung next group. You can have the floor na. Start presenting na. Thank you. And yung next group pala, pa-send din sa akin sa email ng pa-send sa akin sa email ng list of names nyo. Yun. And yung class rep nga pala, yung sinend ko sa GC ng class reps, kahit di accomplish that kasi na-release ko na rin naman sa inyo yung scores nung midterms, nung midterm week pa lang din. So, pa-accomplish nun, pa-send sa akin ng PDF file. Until mamayang 6:30. Thank you. Yung next group, sige, pa-present na.
Good morning po. Am I audible? Thank you. So, gising pa po ba ang lahat? Ano na lang po, pa-heart react. Yan, thank you. So, para mas lalo pa tayo magising, nag-prepare po ng short icebreaker ang group 2. Ang tawag po sa kanya is Guess the Animal. Wala pa. Guess the Animal. So, ang simple lang naman po yung mechanic. Huhulaan lang po natin kung anong animal po ba yung nakapresent sa script. So, ayan. You can utilize our chat box po for your answers. So, ayan. For our first animal, tilapia. Okay. For the reveal po, ang animal po na ito ay pusa. Okay. Next animal, better luck po. Ito, ano po kaya siya? Baboy. Aso. Daga. Manok. Lahat kasi na. Ay, congressman. Viable, relative siguro. Okay. Kung sinabi pusa, tama si Ken. Cat po siya. And then for third animal, ano po kaya ito? Yung nagtatanong ng premyo. Ang premyo mo po ay regular ka po this sem na lalabas. Manok. Hindi ka good. Baboy po. Okay. Next. Ano po kayang name ng animal na ito? Pegasus ba ako? Bibe. Ayun. May tumama po tayo sa bibe. And then I think, okay, may dalawa pa po tayong tira. Ano po kayang animal ito? Aso yan for sure. Kangaroo. Lalate. Okay, for the reveal, siya po ay isang manok. And then I think this is the last one. Ano po yun? Chicken daw. Okay. Kung may nagsabi po sa inyo ng aso, you are correct. So, ayun lang po for our icebreaker. Sana nabigyan po namin sa'yo ng konting tawa kahit despite the dami ng gawain natin. Okay. So, let's start with our lesson. For lesson 5, we will be talking about the surface and engine friction. So, as per discussed from earlier discussion, friction is the force that resists motion when two surfaces come into contact and try to move past each other. It causes energy loss and heat generation as well as the degradation of materials. So, it can also be classified into surface and engine friction. Pag sinabing surface friction, it includes static kung saan ang material natin or object ay nagstay in place dahil ng friction. While kinetic types naman, ito ay it's either one object slides into another object or parehas siyang nagslide into each other causing friction. While engine friction naman, it happens in or within or inside the machineries or the engine itself na kasama dito yung moving parts like piston, shafts, and bearings. Now, we can use, as per sinabi nga, or diniscuss ng group 1, we can use lubrication in order to reduce the friction. So, bakit nga ba, or necessary ba talaga to reduce friction? Yes po. Kasi, pag na-reduce natin yung friction, it improves the efficiency, the durability, energy conservation, and it will lead to the longevity of the machine itself. So, in order to reduce friction, we can use lubrication, material selection, coatings, or surface finishing. So, ayun lang naman for introduction, and then it will be further discussed by my fellow groupmates.
So next naman po is the solid surface characterization. Solid surface characterization studies the properties of solid interfaces with gases or liquids influenced by material type, surface preparation, and environmental factors. In tribology, it is essential for understanding friction, wear, and lubrication, helping optimize mechanical performance and efficiency. So basically po, yung solid surface characterization is the study of the outer surface of materials to see how smooth, hard, or damaged it is. So it's also the study of how the materials or the surfaces behave with chemicals such as lubricants and coolants din po. This is important for such materials like bearings, where metal surfaces slide and friction causes wear and tear. By using tools like microscopes and testers, individuals can check scratches, rust, and texture changes and learn where damage happens, and also improve lubrication and design. In short, solid surface characterization helps machine parts like bearings last longer, move smoother, and also work better po. Next slide po.
So we have next po is our surfaces at a nanoscale. So at the nanoscale, or 1 billionth of a meter, the arrangement of atoms and molecules greatly influences material behavior. So the Terrace Ledge Kink or TLK model, yung na-mention nga po kanina, explains the atomic structure of solids, surfaces, through features like terraces, ledges, and kinks. So these surface irregularities affect friction, wear, and catalysis by controlling atomic contact and reaction sites, making the TLK model essential in understanding and designing nanoscale materials and devices. So, ito pong ating TLK model ay yun nga po, nagagamit po para maintindihan natin kung paano nakakaapekto yung tinatawag nating topography at chemical properties ng surface ng ating material sa contact, adhesion, at saka removal po nito. So, dito po sa slide natin, meron tayong na-mention na yun nga yung tatlong features na terrace, ledges, and kinks. So, ito po yung key features ng ating model na yun nga po napakita doon sa slide kanina sa previous slide po. So first we have yung ating terrace. Ito po yung isang wide flat area ng crystal plane natin wherein yung atoms po have the highest binding energy. Next po is the ledge. Na ito po yun nga, yung edge ng isang terrace wherein yung atoms are or less strongly bonded than on the terrace. Then lastly, we have yung ating kink, which is isang notch or corner sa ating ledge. Kung saan naman po, dito yung most reactive sa ating surface since yung nga po, it requires a lower binding energy than yung ating terrace at saka yung ledge. So, importante po na nagagamit natin yung TLP model sa pag-analyze po ng mga tribological behavior ng ating material surfaces. Kasi nakakatulong po ito sa pag-identify ng areas ng ating surface natin wherein reduced yung severity of friction at adhesion or I guess minimal yung
Na may peaks and valleys yung surface. Now, sa engineered surfaces, hindi lang basta ginagawa ang surface. Dinadesign ito para sa specific na purpose. For example, sa bearing surfaces, kailangan smooth para mabawasan ang friction. Sa sealing surfaces naman, dapat pantay para hindi tumagas yung fluid. And dun sa lubricant retention surfaces, medyo magaspang ng konti pero mas kumakapit dun yung oil o kaya yung grease. And para malaman ang surface topography, may mga techniques na ginagamit natin. First is the profilometry. Sinusukat nito yung taas tsaka lalim ng surface gamit yung stylus o kaya yung laser. And next is the AFM or atomic force microscopy. Ginagamit naman natin ito para makita yung sobrang liit na details, yung halos sa atomic level na. And lastly, the SEM or scanning electron microscopy. Ito naman ay parang high-tech camera na nag-display ng detailed image ng surface para makita yung texture at features. So, in short, kung masyadong makinis yung surface, mababa ang friction, pero minsan madaling masira kung walang oil. And kung masyadong magaspang naman, mataas ang friction, pero mas kumakapit ang lubricant. Kaya, need natin na sakto lang yung roughness depende sa kung saan ito gagamitin. Next slide po.
Next po, let's proceed to the multi-scale characterization of surface topography, specifically the Fourier transform. The Fourier transform is a mathematical method that converts or represents a signal in the frequency domain. In simple terms, instead of looking at a signal or surface profile based on time or distance, the Fourier transform lets us see it in terms of frequency, which is kung gaano kadalas nauulit yung mga features or patterns. Again po, in Fourier transform, we are looking for the frequency. Again po, ang frequency is kung gaano kadalas nauulit ang mga features or patterns. This method is widely used in signal and image processing, physics, and especially in surface topography characterization, where we analyze the roughness profile of a surface. Basically, it helps us understand how rough or smooth a surface is by breaking down its complex pattern into sinusoidal base function. It is a simple waveforms that, when combined, recreate the full surface profile. Again po, ang sinusoidal base function ay ang simple waveform that when combined, it recreate the full surface profile. The Fourier transform is also very useful for cyclic or repetitive tests like the reciprocating ball-on-flat test because those tests produce periodic signals. And Fourier transform works best with cyclic or repeating data. Again, in short po, Fourier transform is a powerful tool that helps us analyze and quantify surface texture by converting spatial data into its frequency components, making it easier to study patterns, roughness, and periodic behavior. Next slide po. Next po, let's proceed to the description of topography and surfaces using Fourier transform. Basically po, itong diagram na to shows how we can describe or analyze surface topography. When we say surface topography, ito po yung surface roughness, and ito pong description of topography and surface using Fourier transform is a mathematical method. Unang-una po is ang surface scattering data. First po, we start with what we call surface scattering data. Ito po yung raw data na galing sa measuring instrument like profilometer or atomic force microscope or AFM. Basically, ito ang nakikita nating height variation ng surface na parang mga mini mountains or valleys. So dito pa lang po, we already have an image of how rough or smooth a surface is, pero hindi pa po siya quantified. That's why we use mathematical method or mathematics to analyze it. At dito na po papasok yung Fourier transform. Ang ginagawa po dito, it converts our spatial data or yung actual height and distance into frequency data. In simpler terms, pinapakita ng Fourier transform kung gaano kadalas nauulit ang mga surface pattern. So kung may mga fine texture or small roughness, mataas ang frequency. Kung smooth naman and wavy, mababa naman ang frequency. And next po is the power spectral density function or PSDF. After applying the Fourier transform, we get what's called the power spectral density function or PSDF. This function shows how the roughness is distributed across different frequencies. For example po, pag low frequencies equals to large scale waviness o yung tinatawag o nakikita po natin na parang may mga gentle hills. Kapag naman po high frequency, equals po ito sa fine texture o yung mga meron lang pong small bumps. So through PSD, we can identify kung anong type of roughness ang meron sa surface, kung meron bang malalaking waves o yung pinong texture lang. Next naman po is the inverse Fourier transform and autocorrelation function or ACFR. Kapag ginawa po natin to, we get the autocorrelation function or the ACFR. Now, the ACF measures how similar the surface heights are when you move a certain distance r. In simple terms po, kung mataas ang ACF, ibig sabihin paulit-ulit o regular ang pattern. Again po, pag mataas po ang ACF, paulit-ulit o regular ang pattern. Kung mababa naman po, random o irregular ang surface. Next one is the surface parameters. From the ACF, we can actually compute different surface parameters that describe the topography more quantitatively. These are the sigma po, which is the surface roughness or the RMS roughness, and it tells us how high or low the surface deviates from average. Next naman po is yung T or yung tau, which is the autocorrelation length, and it tells us how far a surface pattern remains correlated. So kapag mababa po ito, ibig sabihin smoother po ang surface. Again po, kapag mas mababa ang tau, ibig sabihin po mas smoother ang surface. And lastly is the S, which is the RMS slope. It describes how steep the surface texture is. Again po, ang dinidescribe po dito is how steep the surface texture is. So in summary po, the process of this goes like, first, we start with the surface scattering data. Second, we apply Fourier transform to get the power central density or the PSD. Next po is to apply inverse Fourier transform to get autocorrelation function. And lastly po, we calculate our surface roughness, which is the sigma, the autocorrelation length, which is the tau, and the RMS slope, which is the S. Now, nagtataka po kayo kung bakit po importante ito. Kasi po in engineering and in material science, surface roughness affects friction, adhesion, lubrication, and even optical performance. Using Fourier analysis, mas madali nating makikita at makwa-quantify kung gaano ka-smooth o ka-rough ang isang surface at kung ano po ang scale ng features ang dominant. Yun lang po.
So moving forward sa wavelets analysis decomposes a signal into different frequency bands, providing spatial localization for high and low frequencies. It is used to analyze surface topography, detect defects, and separate roughness, waviness, and form, offering more detailed information than Fourier analysis. So how do we explain wavelet analysis in more detailed form? Wavelet analysis is a method used to study the surface texture of a material by breaking down the surface data into different level or scales. Meaning, ang ginagawa nito ay hinahati-hati niya yung surface data sa iba't ibang levels or scales to show both the frequency or kung gaano kapino yung surface and the location or kung saan ito nangyayari. This means it can identify not just how rough a surface is, but also where the rough or smooth areas are found. Using wavelet analysis, we can separate a surface into three main parts. Una is yung form, which is the overall shape or curvature ng surface. Second, yung waviness, which is the medium-sized surface waves or undulations. And third is the roughness, which is the small, fine texture or tool marks. So if i-compare naman tong wavelets analysis sa Fourier analysis, wavelets give a clearer and more detailed picture of the surface because they can detect local defects tulad ng mga gasgas, pits o wear marks na minsan hindi na napapansin sa ibang method. This makes wavelet analysis very useful for studying and improving surface quality in manufacturing and material analysis.
Next is fractal analysis. Fractals describes complex surface structures across scales. They are used to characterize surface roughness, friction, and wear, and to model surface interaction for predicting performance and durability. Fractal analysis introduced by Richardson and Mandelbrot quantifies surface complexity through fractal dimensions. Fractal analysis helps us understand kung paano ba nagbe-behave ang isang surface mula micro hanggang macro scale. Isa sa mga key ideas dito ay ang fractal dimension. Ito yung value na nagsasabi kung gaano ka-complex o ka-irregular ang surface. Kapag mataas ang fractal dimension, ibig sabihin mas detailed at mas rough ang surface. Kapag mababa naman, smooth ang surface. Bakit nga ba importante ang fractal analysis? Importante ito kasi ang surface complexity ay directly nakaka-apekto sa real engineering behaviors tulad ng friction, wear, lubrication, at contact performance. Through fractal dimensions, mas kaya nating i-predict kung paano mag-interact ang mga surfaces lalo na sa mga applications gaya ng coatings, engine parts, at precision manufacturing.
So, dito naman tayo sa friction and wear screening methods. Next slide po. Friction and wear. Friction and wear affect the performance and durability of mechanical components. The Amonton's Coulomb laws describe friction as proportional to load and higher for static than kinetic friction. Microscopic contact points and surface asperities contribute to friction. Lubrication reduces friction and wear, ensuring smooth and efficient operation. So, what is nga ba yung friction and wear screening method? Ang friction and wear screening methods are mga techniques na ginagamit para ma-evaluate natin yung mga materials natin, yung mga coatings, yung mga lubricants na ginagamit para makita natin yung tribological performance ng ating materials. Ang tribological performance naman ay yun yung nag-resist ng friction and wear under the different conditions. Meron naman tayong mga iba't ibang test para makita natin yung tribological. May iba't iba tayong types ng tribological test. Ito ang kaunahan is yung pin on desk test. It involves a stationary pin or ball pressed against a rotating disc used to evaluate friction and wear under sliding conditions. Itong mga test na ito ay ginagamit natin para matest natin yung friction and wear ng ating mga materials. Ang next naman is the reciprocating test. Consists of a stationary pin or ball sliding back and forth against a flat surface, simulating oscillating or reciprocating motion. The third one is the four-ball test. It employs the three stationary balls in a cup with the fourth ball rotating against them under load, used to assess the extreme pressure and wear properties of lubricants. Next is the block-on-ring test. Features a stationary block pressed against a rotating ring, allowing for the study of friction and wear under high loads and speeds. Fretting test involves small amplitude oscillatory motion between two surfaces, often leading to surface damage and material removal. Erosion test assesses the resistance of a material to wear caused by the impact of solid particles or liquid droplets. And abrasion test. It evaluates the resistance of a material to wear caused by hard particles or asperities sliding or rolling against the surface. And lastly is the scuffing test. It determines the resistance of material or lubricant to sudden severe wear caused by the breakdown of the lubricating film under extreme conditions.
So now let's talk about the structural differences between static and sliding contacts. Static contact occurs when surfaces touch at many small, random points without movement, explained by the Greenwood-Williamson model. So when we say static contact, it occurs when two surfaces are pressed together but are not moving relative to each other. This type ng contact is fundamental to many stable structures and assemblies. Ang Greenwood-Williamson model naman, ito yung fundamental theory in the study of contact mechanics, particularly sa pag-understand ng kung ano or gaano ka-rough ang isang surfaces at paano mag-interact ang dalawang object. It is a statistical model used to describe the contact between a rough surface and a smooth, rigid plane. On the other hand, sliding contact happens when surfaces move, leaving fewer but larger contact areas with compacted wear particles forming from friction. When we say naman sliding contact, it occurs when two surfaces are in contact and moving relative to each other. This type of contact is common in machinery, transportations, and many everyday applications. Next slide po. Increased separation between surfaces. Sliding causes surfaces to pull apart, leaving only large bumps in contact and reducing the number of contact points. Loss of wear particles. Friction generates wear particles that gradually exceed the contact area, permanently altering their distribution within the sliding surfaces. In a more detailed explanation, during sliding contact, two significant phenomena occur: increased separation between surfaces, and the loss of wear particles. Sliding motion causes surfaces to gradually pull apart, a separation that results from the dynamics inherent in the sliding interaction. As this happens, the number of contact points decreases considerably, concentrating the load onto the largest asperities o yung tinatawag nating bumps present sa surfaces ng isang object. Simultaneously, yung friction naman is nagge-generate ng small fragments known as wear particles through adhesion and abrasion. These particles gradually exit the contact area as sliding continues, causing a permanent alteration to the surface topography and a change in the distribution of material within the sliding surfaces.
Under po tayo ng sliding contact, we have fretting wear, wherein fretting wear is surface damage caused by microsliding between contact surfaces undergoing small amplitude cyclic motion. It is characterized by the accumulation of wear particles, which alters wear dynamics and forms debris layers within the fretted wear scar. In cases like ball on plate, variations in contact pressure can further affect the wear. So, from our previous discussions po sa ating nakaraang chapters, fretting wear happens when two surfaces rub together with very small and repeated motion, causing surface damage and material loss over time. Na yung debris or material na humihiwalay ay nag-act as abrasives in between those contact surfaces, which further accelerates the rate at which wear occurs. Yung sa contact naman ay either sa center or sa edge. Wherein pag nasa center, hindi masyadong nakakagalaw si particles, so static siya, pero mataas ang pressure. While pag nasa edge naman, hindi masyadong mataas yung pressure, pero nakakagalaw si particles, which is mentioned earlier na yung particles na yun pwedeng umalis. And that's basically what fretting wear is. Next slide, please.
Now let's talk about the influence of surface temperature. So surface temperature greatly affects sliding contact mechanics. As sliding speed increases, surface temperature rises, softening or melting surface layers and reducing the formation of interlocking lumps. This results in lower friction at higher speed since fewer lumps resist motion. For example, in a friction clutch, high-speed sliding generate frictional heat, increasing the surface temperature of clutch elements. To understand this, let's look closer. Even the smoothest surfaces have microscopic peaks and valleys, and we call them asperities. Think of them as tiny, stiff lumps. When two surfaces slide, those rigid lumps collide and interlock. The force needed to break or shear these stiff lumps is what causes friction. So friction is partly the resistance from these rigid lumps. Now let's look at what happens when you slide very quickly. High sliding speed generates extreme frictional heat very rapidly, right at the contact point where we call the heat spike. This intense localized heat causes the outermost layer of the microscopic lumps to soften or melt. They lose their rigidity, or often we call surface softening. Instead of being hard, interlocking obstacles, they are now soft and easily smeared aside. They no longer provide the high resistance they did when they were cold and rigid. We call this resistance drop. And the heat caused by the speed change the material, reducing the mechanical component of friction. More speed leads to more heat, which leads to softer surfaces, which leads to lower friction. And as engineers, we should consider this as it causes friction to drop unpredictably, which leads to issues like brake or clutch fade, premature wear, and eventual component failure. Therefore, we must design materials and cooling systems that prevent this thermal softening to keep our components reliable and safe at all speeds. Next slide.
Hello po, rinig po ako. Makikirak naman po. So, mag-start po ako sa ating friction. Specifically sa ating rolling friction. First ay pwede ba nating i-recall yung natutunan natin about sa rollers or roller support, which only exerts normal force sa isang object. So, sa ating sample problems na na-encounter ay puro ideal siya na hindi natin nako-consider yung ating rolling friction madalas. But in real life, when a round object rolls over a surface causing slight deformation and energy loss, it is measured by the coefficient of rolling friction, which is very low for smooth materials like steel, which has 0.01 to 0.001 but increases with surface wear or buildup. Next slide po. Next slide po. Ayan. Next is the traction or the grip or kapit ng isang specific object sa isang surface. So ang common example po natin na pansin ang traction ay yung tires at saka yung ating mga sapatos or shoes. So ang traction allows us to accelerate, brake, and climb, which is also connected sa rolling friction wherein this can be seen sa pagpili ng tires for their own, It can be seen na sa ating mga pagpili ng tires for race cars na ginagamit sa asphalt road or kaya concrete road. Meron din namang times na ginagamit din natin to sa ating pagpili ng sapatos na Kunwari, yung ating running shoes, iba pa siya sa ating basketball shoes, tsaka yung volleyball shoes dahil magkakaiba pa rin yung ating court na pinaglalaruan. So, sinabi din dito na low rolling friction reduces drag while high adhesion ensures better control. So, ano nga ba yung drag? Ang drag ay yung pumipigil sa atin para mag-move forward o kaya pumipigil sa atin mag-move sa ating desired na direction. Meanwhile, yung sa high adhesion naman, so mas maganda yung kapit ng ating paa o mas maganda yung kapit ng ating gulong sa surface o sa road, mas maganda yung ating paggalaw since mas maganda yung ating control or hindi nag-slip yung ating paa or tires. Next slide po. Next is the microslip, which is also a damaging phenomenon sa isang surface after undergoing through rolling stresses sa surface, which forms wave-like patterns called corrugations. So, madidiscuss natin itong corrugations mamaya. So, this can be small, around 0.3 millimeters, or large, from 40 to 80 millimeters, called facets. Factors like nag-i-include din siya ng, aside from friction, nako-consider din po sa microslip ang vibration or yung wheel vibration, material properties, and yung wave peaks na harder sa ating valleys, which shows that pressure affects or it causes changes sa ating surface. Next slide po. Next is the hysteresis. So kung hindi man po tayo familiar sa term na hysteresis, ito po yung pagkakaiba ng behavior ng isang object after going through the same load in compression and tension setups. Or in tire, may compression or expansion din po tayo. Ito sa laging effect that happens when a compressive stress is greater ahead of the rolling point than behind, causing resistance and friction. It is significant in polymers and rubbers where adhesion weakens the compressive forces behind the contact. So next slide po. Next naman po ay yung corrugation na connected sa ating microslip. So yung corrugation naman po ay nag-o-occur after maka-experience ang surface ng rolling stresses. Yun po, siya po yung wave-like patterns na makikita natin sa isang surface, which is nakita ko sa YouTube na merong train. Papakita ko na lang yung ating link. Na nagka-defect yung rail after undergoing to stresses pa ulit-ulit. So ito po yung aking pinagbasihan. Then sinend ko na po sa Tapos it's mainly caused by wheel vibrations and material properties with harder peaks and softer throughs, showing surface deformation under wheel
I'm here
contact.
again. I just
So next
Cumberland
slide
Mine
po.
Railroad, March 23rd, 2020.
So ito naman po ay familiar na tayo itong plastic deformation. So plastic deformation which highly depends on contact force, shape, and properties of the material. So ang softer materials ay tawag dito. As rolling radius increases, friction decreases. Meanwhile, light loads can cause elastic deformation. So kapag elastic deformation, nabalik pa rin siya dun sa kanyang original shape. Meanwhile, kapag kapag heavy naman yung loads na ating ilalagay dun sa isang object, ay maaari na itong mag-lead into plastic deformation. Na yung, kunwari, ang bearing natin ay mag-iiba na yung shape, hindi niya na mafulfill yung kanyang optimal function. Next is yun nga, softer materials resist less. Kapag naman malambot yung ating material, mas madali siyang mapingkot, mag-dent, o kaya naman ay, yun nga, maapektuhan ng plastic deformation. And in steel, friction drops as speed rises from 20 to 500 km per hour. So, i-compare na lang natin siya sa isang race car na sobrang bigat. 'Di ba kapag ang race car ay nasa isang road, ang weight niya ay ang weight niya ay naapekto sa road. Pero kapag moving siya ng mabagal, medyo mabigat pa din 'yun. Pero kapag sobrang bilis, parang nagiging negligible na yung weight niya doon sa road. Gano'n naman yung sa steel, which kapag sobrang bilis na ng movement, nagiging negligible na yung friction pero hindi siya never siya nagiging zero since in real life, ang friction ay sadyang nandiyan na, hindi siya nawawala or nag-i-equal to zero. Next slide po. Next slide po. Yan. So, implications of wear and friction. Friction generates heat at contact points causing thermal softening, deformation, and adhesive wear. Excessive heat can lead to fatigue, cracking, oxidation, and increased abrasive wear. It also reduces lubricant viscosity, causing boundary lubrication and more wear. Tapos ito po ang ating explanation. It just shows na may interconnection po yung tatlo or yung ating friction, heat, at saka wear. Without the proper use of ating lubricants at saka yung coolants, nag-i-start po ang problem sa friction na nagre-result into heat. Then both friction naman at saka yung heat ay nagkokos ng ating wear. Meanwhile, yung ating wear naman ay yung may debris siya. So kapag hindi na properly clean yung debris dun sa isang machine or component, naglilid pa siya into more heat, into more friction, which nagkokos din ng major issues such as kasiraan ng component or kaya ng machine. So overall, friction, wear, and heat conductivity are closely related.
Next is we have the wear mechanism. Wear is the gradual removal of material from a solid surface due to mechanical contact with another solid. It occurs when two loaded surfaces slide or touch, causing material loss or transfer. Examples include worn coins, pencil tips, and train rails, though living tissues like bones can repair wear through regrowth. So in short, wear ay yung pagnipis o pagkasira ng surface dahil sa friction or kiskisan. For example, coins. Habang ginagamit natin, nagiging makinis kasi nagagasgas sa isa't isa. Pencil tips, nauubos habang sinusulat natin, at train rails, numinipis dahil sa gulong ng train. Pero sa bones, kaya nitong mag-repair ng mga wear dahil nagre-regrow sila. Next po. There are four main types of wear. First is adhesive wear, caused by strong adhesion between solid surfaces where contact patches form and break during sliding, producing wear particles. Ibig sabihin, sobrang dikit ng dalawang metal surfaces habang gumagalaw. Kapag naghiwalay sila, may sumasamang material. For example, sa car engine, kapag kulang sa oil, dumidikit at nagagasgas ang piston at cylinder wall. Kaya importante ang lubrication para hindi mangyari to. Sunod ay ang abrasive wear. Occurs when a hard surface or abrasive particles slide against a softer one, creating grooves and material loss. Ito naman yung kapag may matigas o magaspang na surface na dumadampi sa mas malambot. For example, sandpaper sa kahoy, natatanggal ang surface para kuminis. Sa brake pads ng kotse, nauubos din habang ginagamit kasi nagkikiskisan sila ng brake disc. Next is the corrosive wear. Happens when gases or liquids chemically attack exposed surfaces during sliding, removing protective layers and accelerating corrosion. Ito ay halo ng chemical at friction damage. For example, both propellers or pipes nasisira dahil sa tubig o chemicals habang gumagalaw, kaya mabilis silang kalawangin kung walang tamang coating or maintenance. At lastly, ang surface fatigue wear results from repeated stress during rolling motion, forming subsurface cracks that release particles and cause pitting, common in bearings and gears. Ito naman ay dahil sa paulit-ulit na stress or pressure. For example, bearings sa mga motor or bikes. Kapag matagal nang ginagamit, nagiging maingay kasi may maliit na bitak sa loob. Ganon din sa train wheels. Dahil sa constant rolling, nagkakaroon ng maliit na pitting. And that sums up lesson 5. Thank you po.
Thank you guys. Again, nag-send na ba kayo sa email? Let me check. Yun, that is our lessons 4 and 5. Again, next week, we'll be discussing sorry. We'll be discussing the Petlov's equation, yung calculations natin doon, and different graphs, paano magbasa ng graphs to evaluate viscosity, to evaluate viscosity in terms of temperature of a certain lubricant na gagamitin natin. We'll be utilizing that, as well as yung different assumptions na diniscuss sa lesson 4 na need nating i-consider when solving for Petlov's equation. Ayun, yun lang naman. May concerns ba kayo? Questions, concerns, clarifications? Sige, if walang concern, I think that's it for today. Pa-open ka muna ulit. Class rep pa-screenshot. Then let me know if okay na. Okay, sige. I think that's it for today. Thank you for attending the class. Thank you sa dalawang groups. Last group is on week 15. Thank you. Have a great day.